Three news stories for you. Firstly, US is putting pressure upon Tigray People Liberation Front. We saw a statement from US State Department 48 hours ago about Dessie Kombolcha. Now, just a few minutes ago, US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken issued a statement on his Twitter account about Dessie and Kombolcha. Why is US putting pressure upon TPLF? US was one of the staunchest supporter of Tigray People Liberation Front. Diplomatically, US was backing TPLF, but now when TDF is in Dessie and Kombolcha, US is trying to put pressure upon TPLF. What is the reason behind that? Secondly, people are talking about coup in Addis Ababa, that a coup could happen. Is there any possibility of a coup now? I will share my opinion with you. And lastly, Ethiopian government just a few minutes ago issued a statement about Kombolcha. Ethiopian government says more than 100 civilians have been killed by TPLF fighters in Kombolcha. We'll talk about that too. Firstly, viewers, US is definitely putting pressure upon TPLF. Now, it's putting pressure upon Tigray's government. We saw a statement from US State Department 2 days ago in which US had called for the withdrawal of Tigray Defence Force from Amhara region without calling for the withdrawal of Amhara forces from Western Tigray. Now, just a few minutes ago, Anthony Blinken, US Secretary of State, issued a statement. He says that the US is alarmed by reports of Tigray forces taking over Dessie and Kombolcha. Continued military operations will lead to a worsening humanitarian disaster. That is why all sides must stop military operations and start talks without any preconditions. Now, when TDF took control of Waldia, why is that US did not issue such a statement? When TDF captured Gashina, it captured Marsa, it took control of Kobo, we never saw such a strong statement by the US. Now, US is basically telling TDF to stop its operations, to withdraw from Amhara region. Why is that? Well, what I understand from the two statements is that US believes that Tigray People Liberation Front could reach Addis Ababa, and TPLF can bring about a government change in Ethiopia. That is why US is now openly calling upon TPLF to stop its operations, to stop its military operations in Amhara region. US does not want a change of government in Ethiopia through military means. So it's trying to pressurize TPLF now. Will TPLF led Tigray government listen to the US? I don't think. US diplomatically backed Tigray government. It imposed some sanctions on Ethiopian government. Tigray government did not receive any considerable support militarily by the US. So that is why now when TDF generals say that the war is about to end and they do not know who to talk to, so they think they are in a position that now they can dictate terms. And now you're calling upon them to stop the military operations. No, I don't think that Tigray Defence Force, TPLF-led Tigray government will agree to US demands. Secondly, viewers, people are talking about coup in Ethiopia, that a coup could happen. I do not agree with this opinion that there could be a coup in Ethiopia. Ethiopian National Defence Force as an institution has been considerably weakened. It is not in a position to stage a coup, firstly. There will be a major casualty of this war if TDF gets close to Addis Ababa. There will be one major casualty. Right now, it seems that if TDF somehow gets close to Addis Ababa, we could see PM Abiy Ahmed removed. Because TDF channels, TPLF leaders, they are saying that no talks with this government. If Ethiopian National Defence Force now takes over, then it would be the casualty of this war. I don't think they're in a position to handle post-coup situation. Now, TDF is a military power in Ethiopia. Other military powers in Ethiopia, they are finding it difficult to counter TDF. I don't think they would like to be in the forefront in Addis Ababa, to be a casualty afterwards. So in my view, ENDF will remain in the background, and we could see a blame game between Ethiopian National Defence Force, PM Abiy's governments, and Amhara regional government. Each of them will try to put the blame on the other. That could happen. But I don't see the possibility of a coup in Ethiopia in present circumstances. Thirdly, viewers, Ethiopian government just a few minutes ago issued a statement. It says that TPLF fighters have killed more than 100 civilians in Kombolcha town. Fighting is going on in Kombolcha town, in the city, in the streets of Kombolcha. Fighting has been reported in the previous video. I told you about that. So people might have been killed in Kombolcha, no doubt about that. Were they civilians or combatants? We don't know, viewers. But since street fighting is being reported, that is why if people have been killed in Kombolcha, yes, it might have happened. But it would be difficult to say were the killed persons civilians or combatants. That is the dilemma of this war, that it becomes difficult to differentiate between civilians and combatants. Civilians are combatants and combatants are civilians too. But civilians who are not part of this conflict, they must be protected. If civilians do not take up arms in a town, then it's the responsibility of both parties to protect them. If they have been killed, then it must be condemned. Civilian casualties must be condemned wherever they happen.